The leadership crisis rocking the African Democratic Congress has deepened. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the David Mark-led interim leadership to appear on September 15th and show cause why INEC should not be stopped from recognizing them. Now, this follows a suit filed by aggrieved party members challenging the legitimacy of Mark. Former Osun Governor Rauf Aregbesola and others appointed to lead the party. While INEC recently updated its record to reflect the Mark-led faction, the court is now questioning the legality of that recognition, raising fresh uncertainty over who truly leads the party ahead of 2027. Joining me to discuss this today is Professor Mondy Selle-Gold. He's the BOT Chairman, African Democratic Congress US Chapter. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, Professor Selle-Gold, let me first ask your take on the recent court, will I call it a ruling, as regards the leadership of your party. As a member, how do you see it?
Well, first and foremost, it's so sad that we have to, at this time, go through this pattern of victimization. We need, more than anything else in Nigeria, free and fair election. And free and fair election means that the judiciary is above board. We have found ourselves repeatedly in circumstances that undermine true democracy. And so what is happening in Nigeria in the last 2 weeks is a direct assault to a sustainable political system or democracy in Nigeria. We want a judiciary that will not be influenced by whoever is the president or whoever that is in charge of INEC. And the reverse is what we are seeing today. It points to the fact that the APC wants a system that is subservient. They want to be in charge. They are promoting a one-party system in Nigeria. So there is no basis for denying the legality of the properly constituted leadership of ADC. And party politics is an internal affair. And I hope that the judiciary will take its hands off and allow ADC to run its affairs the way they deem appropriate.
So what, I mean, with this context, within this context, how do you, as a member of the party, think that ADC should run its affairs in terms of its leadership right now?
That's where it is, and we will continue to recognize the current leadership of ADC. Those of us outside the country, especially in the United States, we are fully...
I mean, according to you, would you consider the current leadership of the party?
Of course, it's His Excellency David Mark. No questions about that. It is the officially recognized leader of ADC, the African Democratic Congress. And those of us in the United States, we are fully in support of His Excellency David Mark. No doubt about it. And we do not want a situation where the internal affairs of Nigeria are debated outside Nigeria. We do not want to be compelled to go through appropriate international mechanisms in place to do things differently. So we are calling on the judiciary, especially the president of Nigeria, to take his hands off on ADC, because the process he is trying to, the system is trying to build or to install in Nigeria is undemocratic. There should be a formidable opposition party, and there is no reason for APC or any party for that matter to be so scared. There is nothing to be afraid of. Nigerians are sick and tired of the continuous underdevelopment and the undemocratic processes and practices in Nigeria. And we have to change, because... Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. I mean, I know you have a lot to say, but I'll definitely come back to you. I'd like to bring into the conversation Dr. Moses Paul. Is a chairmanship candidate for the African Democratic Congress. He joins also virtually. Thank you for your time. I would also put the question to you, to Dr. Paul. this recent court, what I call it, ruling on your party's leadership. As a member, how do you interpret this?
Like Prof rightly said, I mean, it's just what it is, and it's the right thing to be done. What is surprising is the fact that there are interferences, and without a viable opposition, the governance of the day does not even have, you don't even have a legitimacy in the first place without viable opposition. This is something that any government should ensure, that you have a viable opposition, because viable opposition allows you to be able to carry out your duty rightfully. Whether it's at community level or at home level, not to even talk about at governance level in terms of state. So it's quite surprising that at this particular juncture in our nation's history, it's an aberration that we haven't having to discuss, issues like this. I mean, Senator David Mark, and Rauf Aregbesola are the, rightful leaders of the party, and it is something to, I don't know how to say it. It's not even something to celebrate. It is the rightful thing in place. It is only in Nigeria that somebody will go to the market and give 1,000 naira to buy bread. And when you buy the bread and they give you the bread, you come out and start singing hallelujah and celebrating that. Can you imagine that I went to the market, I bought bread, and they actually gave me the bread? So there are just so many things that does not make objective sense at all, or reasoning in the context of our nation. And it's really, like Prof said, it's sad and bedeviling, to where we are as a people and as a nation.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Paul. Let me come back to you, Professor Selle-Gold. Let's talk about the individual, that seems to be a constant in all of this conversation, and that is Mr. Nafiu Bala. He's a former Deputy National Chairman of the ADC, and I mean, since the announcement of, what I call it, the new ESCO, he has claimed that by due process, he should be the chairman. So, I mean, you're a member of the party. Are you aware of Mr. Nafiu Bala as a member of your party, or even a deputy national chairman at some point?
Well, as I said earlier on, the internal processes should be upheld. The party fully recognizes the leadership of David Mark and Aregbesola. It's as simple as that. He's an individual without legitimate followership. And so I believe that what is happening and what he's doing is deliberate. It's manufactured. He's being instigated. He's looking the other way, doing things to the detriment of not only ADC. It's undermining legitimate opposition in Nigeria, and that is a very sad situation. And I hope that you will look at the overall interest of Nigeria and set aside his personal interest, because we need to, at this point, follow a properly documented process, and that process has been followed. And we have a legitimate leadership in place, and that is in person of Senator David Mark. So I have not had any interactions with individuals and he has not been introduced to any chapter. He's not in charge of any of the chapters. He's not in charge of any individual, as far as I'm concerned, in the United States and by extension, the United Kingdom. And so we should not continue to promote an individual that is apparently being used. And how long would we allow individuals? You said we should not.
You said, according to you, you said that an individual that is apparently being used. So I'm asking you, yes. Used by who?
Well, I'm not going to mention names. The answers are very obvious. Because there is no reason. The answers are not
obvious to me, and I'm sure they are not obvious to the viewers. And they would like
to know. Of course, I have said earlier on that legitimate opposition is being undermined by the current administration of APC. I've made that very clear.
So yes, are you insinuating that Mr. Nafiu Bala is a mole of the APC within your party?
Well, I'm not going to be so categorical about that, but let me repeat myself. The current APC is promoting a one-party system. That is obvious to the ordinary Nigerian. The process, what you alluded to earlier on, what is happening in Rivers State, and their refusal to allow the female senator to come on board, these are things that are totally undemocratic. These are practices deliberately put together by the ruling party to the overall interest, the detriment of the nation. We need a free and fair system in place, and that should be encouraged by APC. And so I can tell you that the problems in ADC, as far as I'm concerned, is an act of deliberate instigation, and it amounts to criminality and illegality. That's all I can tell you.
All right, Professor, I would leave you for a moment. Let's go on a quick break.
Thank you.
Would you like to make another point before we go on the break, sir? Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we return, I'll be coming to you, Dr. Paul. I'd also put the same question to you because apparently Mr. Nafiu Bala seems to really want to prove a point. So I'd like to know your take on it also, but we'll take that when we return. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. I still have Dr. Moses Paul, the chairmanship candidate for the African Democratic Congress, and also Professor Mondy Selle-Gold, the BOT chairman of the African Democratic Congress US Chapter. Thank you for staying with me, gentlemen. Dr. Paul, I'm also putting the question to you. Who is Mr. Nafiu Bala? Are you aware of his membership, within the ADC?
What I can tell you is no different from what Prof has said here. There are internal issues with every party, and they should be allowed to, be resolved internally. But every time you see any individual or group of people begin to make public nuisance, you know that there is a handwriting on the wall. And particularly with this particular regime, sadly to say, there are too many paid agents. When you go on the social media, on national, news, there are too many people trying to undermine what the ADC is doing, particularly because the ADC, since having adopted as the coalition party for the 2027 general election, has been facing different attacks from within and without, and particularly, a lot of paid people, are on rampage just to try to undermine her. And it is sad, because if somebody belongs to a party, no party is without internal rancor or crisis. And just like every family, you would not be hearing it on the public space. But when it goes beyond those boundaries, you can be certain, especially where the ADC is concerned, because of the fear of the power, the latent, potentiality of the ADC is frightening, the current regime and putting.
Dr. Paul, if you can hear me, I think we seem to have lost you slightly, but maybe I'll just direct my question to Professor Selle-Gold. Now, Professor, you seem to have a bit of, or express. Do we still have Dr. Paul?
Yes, sectors, and we're having so many people. When you go to some people who are not supposed to even raise their head, I was speaking actually.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Dr. Paul.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Okay. We lost you for a moment. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Okay.
All right, Professor, let me come to you. You seem to express so much confidence in the David Mark and, Aregbesola led, will I call it a faction or ADC, But my question is this. These are also individuals that have held political offices in the country, in the past at different capacity. David Mark was one-time Senate president, Aregbesola governor, minister, quite a number of members of the ADC are politicians that Nigerians are pretty much aware of. And they're also aware of their baggage, right? So I'm going to ask you, Are you confident, as a Nigerian, looking at the track record of some of these politicians that are leading your party, are you confident that they are actually in the interest of Nigerians or just to stay relevant within the political space?
That is an excellent question. Let me tell you this. In every society, you always have individuals who will be accused for no just reason. You've mentioned our leader, His Excellency David Mark. And to the best, the available record shows that David Mark has never been investigated and found of any criminal activities. You look at Peter Obi, you look at whoever, those principal leaders of the party. I believe they have the interest of Nigeria. They can do far better than the current APC. And that is why thousands of us living outside the country are solidly behind ADC. And so it's no longer the in thing to keep pointing, accusing fingers as individuals. If they believe that these individuals are corrupt, the record shows otherwise. So it's no longer the in thing to engage unnecessary rhetoric and theatrics.
Okay, for instance, I'm sorry to interrupt you, right? Let's look at Mr. Aregbesola, for instance, who was one time governor of Osun State and was Minister of Interior in this same country. People will tell you that the way the Interior Ministry is now, compared to when it was, the pilot in charge, is way different. People get their passports earlier. People never even realized, Nigerians never knew that a ministry, was saddled with that much responsibility. It was after he left the ministry. Even when he was governor of Osun State, there were also issues. So I still put it to you again, and I would ask you in 30 seconds, sir.
Let me tell you,
are you confident in these people?
Now than ever before. Let's be realistic. You cannot have a system where you've been in the current administration has been in power for 2 years or thereabout. But why is it that we have not had ministerial appointments in place? If you believe that that ministry has done so well, why is it that the president has bluntly refused to appoint ambassadors? I beg your pardon, ambassadors. We have
let's be clear. This is me not giving some sort of, will I call it thumbs up or support for the current administration? No. But I'm just trying to state the issues on ground. And I mean, based on what Nigerians are seeing.
There are more issues now in that ministry than ever before in the history of Nigeria.
So you
I live in the United States, and it's far more difficult to get my passport or renew my passport or anything of that nature in any of the embassies because of the absence of ambassadors around the world. The Nigerian diaspora is no longer protected. And that is why we also have a remarkable decrease in the direct foreign investment. No country is, look at it now. Just a few months ago, the president of the United States invited leaders from Africa to have a meeting with him. Okay. Was Nigeria invited? The Lion of Africa.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Gold. Let me come to you, Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul, I'm also going to ask you the same question because I know that we've had conversations on this program, and I know that personally you are very passionate. You seem really passionate about the growth of the country. You want to see things work. I'm also going to put the same question to you. Looking at the caliber of the people that are leading your party, the ADC, right now, are you confident as a Nigerian that they are not pursuing their own personal interest?
I'm confident that they are there to ensure our collective progress as a people.
What makes them different?
Most of the
Why
leaders.
Now? Why are you confident? What are those qualities, sir?
I'm confident because of the ideals of the ADC, the coalition party. I'm confident because it believes in the respect of collective responsibility. The ADC is open to what I call, for the ADC, when you go through the charter, when you go through the ideals that the ADC holds there, you would know that the ADC is going to have an independent INEC that is not controlled by our governance system or by when it becomes the ruling party. The ADC as a party believes in inclusivity. The ADC as a party has a lot of values, that respect our unity as a nation. And when you look at some of the leaders of the ADC, you can see that they epitomize these ideals. And that's why I am confident, even with my interfacing with them. The symbol of the ADC is warmth and mutual respect, regardless of your tribe, regardless of even your political party, regardless of your religious affiliation. It believes in that mutual respect. And this is what we see across board, even with the members coming in, because you see, ideology is very strong, and whatever upholds the building block, the foundation upon which any house is built, is very important.
All right.
You can see even the former the former chairman, who relinquished everything to ensure that this becomes a coalition. This is what we're talking about.
The reason, I'm sorry, sir. The reason why we are having this conversation, and I'm being emphatic with this question, is because, Nigerians definitely are following the political trend. This seems to be what we saw back then with the APC, the same political trajectory. Politicians coming together as a force to form a coalition just to oust the ruling government, and then once they get power, they turn coat. So it's just to get all of this emotion. But let's move away from that, and let's talk about the obedient movement, which I know that you are a part of. I just want to clarify this. Are you still part of the obedient movement?
I'm still the Secretary General of the obedient movement, yes. And to your alluding to some of the things you said,
allude?
Yes, you're alluding to
the APC. If we go back to how the APC got into power, it was through mergers, almost like this.
Yes, however, you can see through some of the people, like Prof rightly said, there are track records, and people should be adjudged with their track records. When you look to the ADC today, you can see vibrant young people, as well as people who have served in their capacities. And when you look at their track record, it shows exactly responsibility, accountability, and to a large extent, transparency. And this is what the ADC leadership is about. So to say otherwise would not be fair. And that's why it's important to clarify even on national stations like this.
Okay, now let's talk about Mr. Peter Obi. Is he going to join the ADC soon?
Mr. Peter Obi is part of the ADC. He has said it a lot of time that he is involved. He is part of the ADC.
Is he now a card-carrying member?
The ADC is
of the ADC.
When the time comes for that, he's going to say that himself. I'm sure he's been a guest on News Central, and he's going to come. He's a friend of the News Central. But as you saw him during the inauguration, he's fully part of the ADC. And yes, the obedient movement, even though they are not partisan, some of us are here. I am a leader in the obedient movement, and I'm a card-carrying member of the ADC. And also, I am running, for the council elections under the ADC. Because at the end of the day, this is a viable platform that is presented. Looking at all the other platforms that exist, this is very viable. And we can see, like I told you, through the ideologies, this it gives a very good grounding for us to use this vehicle, because the ideals suit what we're looking for a greater and a better Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Moses Paul. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking our final thoughts on this. Stay with us, we'll be right back. I still have Dr. Moses Paul, chairmanship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, as my guest, and also Professor Mondy Selle-Gold. He is the BOT chairman of the African Democratic Congress, the USA Chapter. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Now, Professor Selle-Gold, let me come to you on this. Let's talk about the by-elections that just, happened in the country. I mean, as a party, the ADC, are there takeaways for you ahead of 2027?
Obvious that the INEC is not prepared. INEC will do whatever that is necessary to undermine the integrity of the electoral process or system. And so we, as a party, has to do things differently. We hope that INEC, as it is, will be totally revamped, because INEC has disappointed at least 95% of Nigerians, definitely no Nigerian diaspora will be happy to say that will be so happy to collaborate with INEC. And the best thing for INEC to do now is to make sure that there is a credible system in place that will not be devoid of any tampering. The independence of INEC is still questionable. We have seen that during the by-election, before, during and after the by-election. So we have a lot to do as a nation. We need a foul-proof entity. And as far as we are concerned, INEC has fallen short of expectations. And I hope that INEC will do things differently.
I mean, if you had to make just, like 3 recommendations, as regards the process ahead of 2027, what would they be?
Well, first and foremost, I would right there call for a change in the system. The change requires a new leadership of INEC. The chairman has done a very poor job. That is that there's no point, saying things that are not true. We must face reality. If we need change in Nigeria, Nigerians, wherever they are, must stand up and tell the truth the way it is. INEC, the independence of INEC is questionable. The current chairman needs to be replaced, and the appointment system of INEC, the leadership of INEC, should also be revisited, because you cannot allow the appointment of the electoral umpire to be managed or to be directly under the control of the presidency. And so how can you have a free and fair election if the integrity of INEC is questionable? And we have gotten to the point where we have shown over and over our inability to run free and fair elections. And it will not be out of place to say we need an independent entity to at least run the 2027 election for Nigerians.
All right.
Yes, I do. I seriously believe that if care is not taken, we need an international body to come in and run the electoral system in Nigeria in the 2027 election.
Are you recommending that the country hires, a foreign, will I call it, establishment to run our elections against the local one we have, for it to be credible?
Well, look, let us do whatever it is necessary to ensure free and fair election. That might even bringing an unbiased external body to monitor the activities of INEC, especially the technological aspect of it, where votes are not accurately counted, where we have seen obvious manipulations in the last election.
All right.
So with the obvious manipulations in the last election, if nothing is done, and so, we do not want external interference, fine. So how long are we going to go through this cycle of disappointments?
All right. Thank you so much, Professor. Dr. Paul, your final thoughts too, and maybe you'd like to react or add to some of the things Professor said.
Yeah, I mean, therefore, you see, each time Nigeria is faced with elections, since from 1999, 2011, 2015, 2023, there is this enthusiasm, there is this anticipation, there is this rise in the energy of people, you know, to participate to a large degree and level. But each time this hope swells, it is dashed by the process, by the manipulation, by all the things that go wrong with the electioneering processes, beginning especially with because of the lack of technological integrity. You know, you go with the beavers, you're talking about even the registration process that has been many times so flawed. You talk about the transfer of election results. This is why we're clamoring for reforms, you know, for the electioneering. This is why we're asking for people reform, because when you have voter suppression rather than voter power, when you have judiciary that is has become an enemy of the people, you know, delays in terms of having, you know, justice. When you have all these kinds of things that undermine our electioneering processes, it becomes something that becomes very worrisome for the people. Nigeria is become, and even when you have some form of regulations, then people go and pull out the IREV, you know, and all kinds of things, snatching of ballot boxes and running away with electioneering materials and beating people, you know, like happened in the last election. You know, these are some of the things that have become a big and a huge concern, you know, for the country, and has led to some of the things we are saying. Because if we don't fix the ballot box, we cannot fix governance.
All right.
Fixing ballot box, fixing governance will lead to fixing our economy, will lead to fixing our educational sector, will lead to fixing health. Because at the end of the day, the leadership that we have today are a product of the electoral process. And so this is why we're calling for people reform and electoral reform.
Paul.
This should be my last.
Thank you so much. I know you have a lot to say, but it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you once again, Dr. Moses Paul, Chairmanship Candidate of the African Democratic Congress, and also Professor Mondy Selle-Gold is the BOT Chairman of the African Democratic Congress, the USA Chapter. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for your time.